Happy Chanukah, and welcome to another edition of Rabbi K's Cuts, visual blasts of wisdom on the weekly Torah portion, or in this case, on the holiday of Chanukah. I'd like to share a brief idea about this beautiful, magical holiday that we are currently celebrating. Chanukah has so many beautiful dimensions to it. One is the idea of light, certainly a prominent theme in the holiday, as we all know. The sages make a very puzzling statement. They tell us that Yavan, the Greeks, were machshich es ha'olam. They darkened the world. Now this is a very strange statement. We know that they were Hellenists, that they were very enlightened people. And in fact, in the annals of the world society, they were actually the most cultured, the most educated. They were extraordinarily advanced in terms of philosophy and mathematics and many scholarly disciplines. So what does it mean when the sages explain that they darkened the world? Conversely, we find an emphasis placed on light in the miracle that took place for the Jews. The Jews were able to light their menorah, rededicate their temple, and somehow this light accomplished something very powerful, represented something very powerful. The idea is as follows. Certainly, as Jews, we appreciate the value of, let's call it, Western wisdom and aesthetic beauty. These were two dimensions of the Greek society which were very prominent. A focus on aesthetics, a focus on physical beauty, and a focus on the disciplines which laid the foundation, the groundwork for Western scholarship, including the modern-day university system. However, what Judaism insists is that these realities, these dimensions, are not ends unto themselves. Physical beauty is not meant to function as an end point for our pursuits. Rather, physicality is meant to be a service of a higher calling, of a higher purpose. Similarly with Western reason and Western philosophical traditions, they can help us learn to cultivate our minds. They can help us, according to many Jewish sages, help us arrive at a deeper understanding of God. Certainly Maimonides and other scholars perceived it that way. And yet, in and of themselves, they can lead to empty and futile speculation if they're not utilized towards a higher purpose. In that respect, the Greeks, the Syrian Greeks, the Hellenizers, they represented the worship of these ideas. And therefore, in worshiping these ideas, they darkened the eyes of the world, because they closed off the world's vision to a much broader picture, to what's really going on in the universe, to what's really going on inside of us, because they stopped at the worship of the physical. They stopped at the realm of pure philosophical reason without venturing beyond into what underlies the source of all of that wisdom and the purpose of all of that beauty. And therefore you could have gross perversions of those beauties and of those ideas because they were not built into a context of something greater. The Jews, on the other hand, have Torah. Torah, we know, is compared to a light, Torah, or the light of Torah. In fact, our organization nationally is called Ma'or, based on the idea that Hama'or Shabo Yachziru Lamutav, that a little bit of light can help anyone return to a connection, a deeper connection with their roots, with their heritage. And therefore, it is specifically those small lights, even if they're not as grand and as beautiful aesthetically, but it's those small lights that ultimately push away the darkness that the Syrian Greeks introduced into the world. And it is our job, even today, to continue lighting those small lights night after night after night, to bring Torah and wisdom into our lives, but true Torah wisdom that allows us to contextualize physical beauty, that allows us to contextualize philosophy and other Western disciplines, and certainly to utilize them, but to utilize them as handmaidens in service of a much greater and more powerful ultimate good. We should all have a Chanukah filled with light and wisdom and meaning and purpose. Thank you all for listening.